Welcome to the Firebelly Social Show. We're focused on talking to food and beverage brands that are on a mission to make the world better.
Hey, everyone. Duncan Alney here with another episode of the Firebelly Social Show, where I get to chat with founders and leaders of mission-driven food and beverage brands. And so thank you so much for tuning into this latest episode of the show. We have a great show lined up for you today. I'm going to talk to my main man, Eric Martindale, founder and CEO of Elite Commerce Group. This episode is brought to you by Firebelly Marketing. At Firebelly, we help mission-based food and beverage brands bring people closer together through social media marketing and even help build retail velocity. So if you're ready to use social media to create more community and excitement around your food and beverage brand, guess what? We want to talk to you. So listen, this next guest today, who I love, has no need for any introduction, but for those of you that might have missed his past appearances on the show, let's go. Eric Martindale is the founder of Elite Commerce Group, a full-service agency specializing in retail media, including Amazon, Target, you name it. Instacart, he does it. Under his leadership, this team has driven in excess of $500 million in retail sales for clients. Got a lot of clients that you might even know, and you have a strong focus on testing and innovation. And listen, he's kind of the go-to guy on LinkedIn for anything e-commerce and getting involved and from a food and beverage and CPG standpoint. So, Eric, welcome to the show, my man. I think it's your third appearance.
Yeah, it is. It is. We've done this is the second podcast. We did the webinar.
That's right.
Third time.
Right. And we should actually make it a regular thing because you have justifiably earned the title of one of the top creators on LinkedIn for retail media and e-commerce, right? Congratulations, my man.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and I'm in as often as you want. We do it every day.
That's right. That's right. So let's start at the top of the funnel, Eric. You and I, we share some clients, and we're talking to people every day about doing work for their brands. And this top of the funnel thing keeps coming up, right? And it's, hey, I mean, we've even heard some comments such as, I just would like to sell a truckload of my products. I don't want to advertise. I don't want to do any marketing. I just want to sell. Is that really possible to do without building any brand awareness?
I don't want to say it's not possible. I can definitely say it's not a good idea to look at sales that way. If I can just interject, there's like 30 minutes a day where the sun comes through the window and hits me, and it happens to be between noon and 12:30 right now, and
this is golden hour for Eric Martindale in the middle of the day.
Yeah. But to answer your question, I would look at this through the term full funnel, and I think when you're a younger brand, you look at full funnel as kind of nerd talk or just some kind of marketing term that doesn't apply to you, but it exists for a reason. And the longer I'm in this business, the more I find myself referring to the funnel, working with the funnel, trying to work in complement with the rest of the funnel. So you know this. I don't know if your viewers are going to know it, but we work mostly with the bottom of the funnel.
Correct.
And that's why you and I end up, both of us have kind of leaned into retail a lot and supporting retail and retail accounts. And we're complementary services, I think. Where I'll kind of end my answer for now in saying that if you're always paying for every sale, you're going to have a problem. You're going to have a problem with profitability, and at some point, very early on, you're going to redline.
Yeah, and redlining is?
Well, we refer to redlining internally where you can always drive some sales with ads. The bottom of the funnel is a place where you can structure some campaigns, you do it right, and drive sales right away. Redlining is where you hit your upper limit. You either can't or you shouldn't increase your ad spend because your ROAS is dropping, you're bleeding, you're unable to be profitable or at least control your break even. So that happens very, very quickly when there's no awareness.
Well, and let's use kind of daily life as a metaphor, right? Um, I mean, I know there are cultures, including Indian culture, which is where I'm from, where arranged marriages are a thing, right? So, and maybe that happened in a few hundred years ago, even in this country, where families came together and they said, "Hey, let's check all the boxes and do all the due diligence, and we're going to get our kids married," right? For whatever strategic reasons, whether it's for the wife and husband's, happy marriage, or whether it's businesses coming together or whatever it is, right? But other than those situations, most people don't get married to people they don't know. They don't want to make babies with people they don't know. They don't want to like plan their lives around people they don't know. So in most cases, people are getting to know each other. They're getting to know each other. They're going on dates and might hold hands and have a little kiss. They're seeing if they're congruent, their values, their emotional connection is there, right? Isn't that sort of what brands should consider doing with their audiences? Hey, this is who we are. This is what we stand for. This is what makes us different.
Yeah, 100%. I think at some point, as a bottom funnel marketer, boy, this light is getting pretty wild here, but as a bottom as a bottom funnel marketer, you you may be able to target some unique benefits. And I could use the example of avocado oil, super hot right now, or no seed oils would be the surge, or seed oil free. That's great right now. I can tell you next year that won't be the case. So if you're using a benefit to drive sales, that's great. And we should all do it. And we're going to continue to do it. But at a point, you become a commodity. You're just competing with everyone else running those same sales. Now you have to do it, but you want your shopper to have seen you before. You want your shopper to have seen you ideally many times.
And
And you
it's
can do that. Go ahead.
That's the reason why you keep seeing Fiji water everywhere. They're in movies, they advertise, they show up at events. I won't use Red Bull because that's an unfair example. They're so
Mhm.
huge. And Fiji is big too, but Fiji wasn't born big. And I think the point that we both agree on is you're better off communicating with the audience before they go on Target.com, before they go on Amazon.com, before they're walking down the aisle in Walmart, if they have some idea. And even Anna Eisen, our mutual friend, said, who's a design guru and designs brand architecture and memorable brands, has said that, hey, it's a lot of work for this label to do to not just jump out off the shelf, but also to convince you to buy it. That's unrealistic for a label. What are your thoughts on
Yeah,
that?
yeah, absolutely. There's a couple of thoughts I have here. If you look at, I think the trouble a lot of brands might have early on, any seasoned brand knows this, but the trouble a lot of brands have early on is that they think that awareness is just sort of a vague, nebulous thing. You can't measure it and you can't do anything material with it. There is a place where I think our roads intersect.
Yes.
And now I'll give an example of how that works, where you are driving traffic and it is immensely important. When I interview a brand, we talk to a brand in the beginning, one of the first questions I ask is, what traffic do you own? What does your social media look like? Every single time. What does your social media look like? What does your email list look like? I don't do those things. So I'm not going to sell those services. The reason I'm asking is because if I launch a brand on Amazon or let's say Target Roundel, I am going to run ads and so is everyone else. Everyone on Amazon, any significant competitor or anybody serious on Amazon is running ads. So it can be in a sense of a relative bloodbath.
Yeah.
Now, if you can get 5% of your sales through social media or email, you can work the algorithm in a way. There's that light disappeared. You can work that algorithm with social media or with email in a way that your competitors are not. Now, if you were Amazon and you were charging people to run ads, you're charging brands to run ads, you're going to make money. If I run ads for a keyword and there's already 15 brands competing for it, Amazon doesn't make extra money from that. They're always going to get those clicks on that billable real estate. But if I bring them new customers, I'm bringing them customers they didn't already have into their ecosystem. Imagine how Amazon might reward that. And they do. We know that. We know that Amazon will reward off-platform traffic. I probably use that term 50 times a day, and I don't even do it for a living. Can you bring me 2%, 5% during a promotion every month? And if you can, I can hit that algorithm. It's one of the things we do with our brands. We try to do a monthly calendar. What's the promotion we're doing this month? Let's drive all the traffic you have so we can work the algorithm. And we've had significant growth for brands who are able to do that.
That's very insightful. And before we move on, Eric, I wanted you to know that I did say a prayer before we started that God would like you better than he lit me. So there you go.
Oh.
Hey, it's time for something that you and I really enjoy, which is shout outs. Let's give some shout outs to our friends and allies. Should we start with David Delcourt?
Yeah.
Yeah, from Seed Ranch and having a hot moment with his hot sauces. Gregory Lewis from Flavor Studio. Our man,
Yeah.
drum roll, Jay Williams.
Jane Freebird.
Freebird, Anna Eisen.
Everybody knows Jay.
Anna Eisen. Derek, is it Gould? Derek Gould or Derek Gould?
Gould, I believe. I call him Gould. He hasn't corrected me.
Yeah, Joshua Shares from Bella Seafoods. Jeremy
Yeah.
Rise, our mutual friend from Rise 25. Matt Oskimo from Three Trees. Aidan Mahegan, who you haven't met, but you should, who has created the first American Irish whiskey. So Natterjack. Any others you want to give a shout out to, Eric?
Oh, what I've been interested in lately because of what he's growing is Brian Fong and Tempest Seafood. Super interesting. I think he's a complex guy. I think everybody should connect with him on LinkedIn. But really interesting brand that he's growing in
Let's
Tempest.
say that Brian Fong, along with Matthew Askren, they both
Oh,
bring a
I love
certain
Matthew.
energy to the table. One is chaos and disruption, and the other one is just kind of validation and reassurance and
Yeah,
encouragement. But we need both of those in the world. So let's switch over
yeah.
real quick, and let's do a quick segment on how brands need to be thinking about retail media, the official Eric Martindale stance.
Yeah. Oh boy, the official stance on retail media. I think you have to do it at this point. Your ROI is going to be better than anything you can do in store. There's nothing in store you can touch it in store you can do that can touch it. That doesn't mean it's the only thing you should do. It can't take the place of everything, but it's extremely controllable. It is extremely measurable. It's your highest ROI activity, and I think if you don't do it, you're at a disadvantage.
That's fantastic. And so, just in case anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, this is actually a phenomenal advantage, as Eric has said, where you're pairing up an online push on these retail channels. In addition, or in some places, it's the only thing you might be doing with these. So it's everyone, right, from Walmart to Target to, does Aldi have retail media too?
They do not have a separate platform that I know of, but it is, as you said, you're targeting a digital shopper who is having their order fulfilled from the store. So it's somebody who's typing in your curbside pickup or retailer delivery like Walmart Plus or uh, Kroger and Albertsons have their own, or it could be third party delivery by DoorDash and Instacart.
And I know that one of our friends who runs Millie's Sipping Broth, who we've both talked to and know very well and have worked with, For example, with him, where when you're working with Walmart.com, you're creating separate creative assets that meet their
Mhm.
specifications in terms of the size of video, the time. It's the same thing with Amazon. I dare say with all retail media platforms, it's a full funnel on those too. And so
Yep.
if you're ignoring, I like to call it, it's a combination of organic SEO and paid SEO on a retail platform. So you have to get found as opposed to just relying on serendipitous discovery. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, and the lines are even blurring there a bit because now you can target you can there's shoppable display and shoppable video, and if anybody here is on DoorDash ads or should be on DoorDash ads, you can target specific retailers through a banner ad. So that creative becomes extremely important.
So I don't mean to throw you a curveball in all of this, but what do you think the impact of LLMs like ChatGPT will be when it comes to searching these retail platforms? I know that you've written about this, but I want to put the spotlight on you.
Yeah, I think it's going to be extremely important when you look at the growth. You and I talked about this, and search is still largely going through traditional through browser, but the growth of AI search is insane. It's in some cases it's 1,000, 2,000% year over year, and the way that works is your SEO. You can imagine you type something into Google and you might type in a topic. It doesn't do you a lot of good to type in a question unless you're using that browser's AI, which kind of proves our point. But if you're using ChatGPT, you might say, find me the hottest protein bars on TikTok. And ChatGPT is very good at doing that. Yahoo is
Especially,
not.
especially when you're talking about agentic mode, right?
Yes, 100%. So it does apply to Google if you're using it in agentic search, but people type things in differently. So now where does your SEO come from? It's very hard to do that on Amazon. You can imagine if I tried to write a title on Amazon, the hottest TikTok protein bar, Amazon wouldn't let me do that. So how do I optimize for an agentic world? It's through social media. That's how people talk now, and that's what how they're going to type into ChatGPT or Perplexity or whatever.
Well, let's round it out by talking a little bit about your inspiration for your adventure racing, my man. It's like I think you are an adventure seeker at heart. You've done some amazing things in your life that people may or may not know, from marine to e-commerce mastermind, is how I like to describe you.
Yeah. Oh, so the question is about
Well,
adventure
what
racing.
drives you with the adventure racing other than sucker punch pickle juice?
Yeah, I love me some Sucker Punch. Date Fix as well. Date Fix is a new tool I've been using. I think it is probably in some sense adventure. I spent 20 years in the Marine Corps, three combat deployments, all kinds of, in the Marine Corps, you can imagine you're rappelling and helocasting and things like that. And then you get out and sit in a chair like I'm doing now. So that's kind of my way to, at least keep something on my calendar to make life spicy.
Well, that's amazing. And we give a shout out to Jennifer Brown, our friend at Sucker
Yeah.
Punch, and David Van Alphen, one of the co-founders or founder of Sucker Punch. And what was the other one you said again?
Date Fix.
Dayfix. Okay, awesome.
DATEFIX. You can pick those up at Walmart or Amazon.
Well, thank you so much, Eric. I know that you're a super busy guy. Thank you for joining us and dropping some serious e-commerce knowledge bombs. I don't know about you, but I feel like if people are listening to this, they might be a little bit more prepared to take on the retail battlefield. So, and everyone, if you want to learn more about Elite Commerce Group and how they're helping brands crush it, in the retail media space, head over to elitecommercegroup.com. If you're a mission-driven food or beverage brand looking to step up your social media game and build a stronger community, check us out at firebellymarketing.com. Always appreciate you, Eric, and you sharing your knowledge on LinkedIn and on podcasts. So thank you so much today for coming on. Any last words for the audience?
No, I just you need to connect with both Duncan and I on LinkedIn, and we share freely over there. So,
all right, thank you, everyone. This has been another episode of the Firebelly Social Show where I get the opportunity to talk to founders and leaders of mission-driven food and beverage brands, and Eric and I work closely with that audience, and we love that audience. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.
see you guys.
Thanks for listening to the Firebelly Social Show. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.